His legacy, complicated, at best.
Probably, he's probably the most athletic player I've ever played against.
Russ is having one of the most underappreciated careers that we will see. And there's guys that come along, one that's sitting in front of you.
Some players somehow look even better as time passes and people finally step back to study the whole picture. Their careers might feel one way while they're happening, but years later, the story starts looking completely different. Russell Westbrook is one of those players, and the conversation around him is finally catching up with just how wild his prime really was. 9-time All-Star, MVP, the only player in NBA history to average a triple-double for an entire season and then come back and do it again and again and again. Westbrook averaged a triple-double across 4 different seasons. He also dropped 42 triple-doubles in a single season, breaking Oscar Robertson's record that had stood since 1961. These weren't regular numbers. Westbrook was putting up stats at such a relentless pace that the entire league had to pay attention to what was happening. But somehow, for years, a huge part of the Westbrook conversation stayed locked onto everything people thought he did wrong. The turnovers, the efficiency, the questionable shots. All that noise became so loud that sometimes it completely drowned out what the man was actually accomplishing on the court. Now comes the part that hits different, because when you listen to the players who actually guarded Westbrook, practiced beside him, shared a locker room with him, and had to deal with that non-stop pressure coming downhill, their description sounds very different from the online narrative. Hall of Famers, MVPs, rivals, and teammates have all spoken about what Russell Westbrook was really like at his peak. This isn't just about numbers on a stat sheet, it's about hearing directly from basketball legends who experienced the Westbrook storm up close. Kendrick Perkins isn't somebody who casually throws players into elite company. He spent more than a decade in the NBA around some of the fiercest competitors basketball has ever seen. We're talking about names like Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, and Michael Jordan when discussing that rare level of competitive mentality. And Perkins has a very specific idea of what separates those players from everybody else. For him, greatness isn't only about trophies, statistics, or individual awards. It's about what somebody brings onto the court every single night. It's the mentality, the intensity, and the standard a player holds himself to when nobody is giving him extra credit for it.
Well, I mean, again, you talk about, when you think of guys that were all-time great competitors, high motor guys that left it all out on the floor night in and night out, you think of Kobe Bryant, you think of Michael Jordan, you think of Kevin Garnett. You also think of Russell Westbrook.
That's where things get interesting. Perkins puts Westbrook in that same competitive category as Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, and Kevin Garnett. Think about the weight of that comparison. Perkins isn't saying Westbrook had the exact same career as those legends. He's talking about competitive DNA, the type of player who refuses to coast and treats every possession like somebody personally challenged him. Perkins saw Westbrook every day during their years together in Oklahoma City, so he wasn't judging from highlights or box scores. He watched the work behind the scenes. According to the picture Perkins paints, Westbrook wasn't somebody who decided to turn up the intensity only when the matchup was big or the cameras were rolling. He brought that energy night after night. He emptied the tank, came back, and did it again. That's the standard Perkins is describing, and in his eyes, Westbrook absolutely met it. Then there's Kobe Bryant. Kobe's opinion on basketball players carried a different kind of weight because competitive obsession became part of his identity. Other NBA stars constantly pointed toward Kobe when explaining what it looked like to be completely consumed by improving, competing, and refusing to back down. So when Kobe was asked about younger players who reminded him of himself, players carrying that same fire and almost reckless level of competitive passion, one name immediately stood out: Russell Westbrook.
Have you run into anybody playing today, younger players, that have that same fire, that same passion that you have for the game?
Westbrook plays mean.
Oh, with a vicious slam.
You played mean like I did, with an aggression. Much the way I play.
And Kobe didn't just make some generic comparison about athletic ability. He pointed directly toward the quality connecting them: aggression. With an aggression, much the way I play. Coming from Kobe Bryant, that's a massive compliment. He wasn't focusing on shooting percentages, vertical leap, basketball IQ, or awards. He was talking about mentality, the willingness to attack somebody possession after possession and never shrink from the moment. That's what Kobe saw in Westbrook. Westbrook played like every trip down the floor had something personal attached to it. He attacked defenders, challenged bigger players at the rim, and kept pushing regardless of what happened on the previous possession. Kobe recognized that edge because it was something he built his own reputation around. Then Carmelo Anthony gives us another angle, and this one comes from actually being Westbrook's teammate. Melo didn't have to guess what playing alongside Westbrook felt like. He experienced the speed and intensity in real time. He had to adjust to somebody operating at a pace that could turn one defensive rebound into an offensive opportunity before everybody else had even figured out what happened. And interestingly, Melo doesn't only focus on Westbrook's triple-doubles or explosive highlights. He focuses on the demand Westbrook placed on the guys around him. The message was basically simple. If Westbrook creates an open look for you, be ready to shoot.
We're just playing ball right now. We're just trying to figure it out. I mean, if we want to play fast, we want to play quick, and I think with Russ, you almost have to play quick. I mean, if he passes to you and you open, and you don't shoot it, he get mad at you. So, that's something that since he's been in practice with us, something that we've been working on. But right now, we don't know. We're just playing basketball, trying to see what works, trying to see what doesn't work, and when the time comes, the things that work.
Melo explains that if Westbrook passes to you while you're open and you don't take the shot, Westbrook gets mad at you. That little detail says a lot about how Russ viewed offense. He wasn't simply racing around hunting numbers. He was collapsing defenses, finding teammates, creating openings, and expecting those teammates to finish the play when the opportunity appeared. There was no time to hesitate. If Westbrook kicked the ball out and you had daylight, he expected you to let it fly. That's why Melo's perspective matters so much. He's describing the mental adjustment required to play beside Westbrook. To think faster, clear your mind, stay ready, and understand that the ball could arrive before you even expected it. Playing with Westbrook wasn't passive basketball. You couldn't just stand around waiting to see what happened. His pace forced everybody around him to stay alert because 1 second of hesitation could kill the opening he had just created. And that's another part of Westbrook's prime that gets lost when people reduce everything to efficiency numbers or bad possessions. The dude changed the speed of the game. Teammates had to adapt to him, defenses had to prepare for him, and opponents knew that slowing down for even a second could turn into Westbrook exploding toward the rim. Then you get to Paul George, one of the best two-way players of his generation. George knows elite basketball from both sides of the floor. He spent years guarding dangerous scorers while also creating his own offense off the dribble at the highest level. That makes his perspective on Westbrook especially interesting, because PG wasn't watching the madness from across the league. He got an up-close look at what made Westbrook such a nightmare to deal with. Paul George knows what NBA speed looks like. He spent his entire career sharing the floor with freak athletes, elite guards, and players who can turn defense into offense in seconds. But when PG talks about playing with Russell Westbrook, he makes it clear that Russ wasn't just fast in the normal sense. This was a whole different gear. An explosive pace that forced everybody around him to rethink what fast even meant.
Speed, we joke about it, how to run a fast break with him, because he's so fast. And by the time you catch it, your feet is all messed up trying to catch up to him. So it's gonna be an adjustment, but again, you got a guy that put that much pressure on defense. It's gonna make the game so much more easier for me. So. My job is the easy part. It's just to finish those plays for him.
George describes what could happen when you're trying to run a fast break beside Westbrook. By the time you gather yourself, catch your feet, and get ready for the next move, Russ could already be way ahead of you. There was no choice but to adjust. If you wanted to keep up, you had to process everything quicker. But then PG reveals why that speed mattered beyond Westbrook simply getting buckets. A player putting that kind of non-stop pressure on a defense can make life easier for everybody around him. Defenders collapse, help comes early, passing lanes appear, shooters suddenly get cleaner looks. Westbrook's ability to attack created real gravity, and Paul George, one of the smoothest offensive players of his era, is basically explaining that playing beside Russ could make his own job easier. Then Charles Barkley takes the conversation somewhere even crazier. Barkley has been around NBA basketball for decades. He played against legends, watched generations of superstars come through the league, and then spent years analyzing those players on television. His reference point is massive. Yet when Barkley talks about the nightly effort Russell Westbrook brought, he says he hasn't seen anything quite like it. That's not some random compliment thrown around after one great game. Barkley has watched an absurd amount of basketball, so when he singles out Westbrook's effort, the statement carries serious weight.
No, he wouldn't. That's a fight you're not looking for. That's a man.
Yes, he's a bad dude.
If you don't respect and admire Russell Westbrook, there's something wrong with you. And let me tell you something. I've been in this thing for 30 years, I've never seen a player give maximum effort every single night like him. And I'm played against the greats.
Wait, even Jordan?
Even Jordan didn't play as hard as Russell Westbrook does. And Michael's the greatest of all time. But this guy gives maximum effort every single play, every single night. And you got to respect.
Barkley says, if you don't respect and admire Russell Westbrook, something is wrong with you. Then he takes it even further. He says even Michael Jordan didn't play as hard as Westbrook did. Now, Barkley isn't saying Westbrook had a greater career than Jordan. He's not comparing championships, scoring ability, basketball IQ, or overall legacy. He's talking specifically about relentless effort, the exhausting job of going full speed possession after possession, night after night. Jordan is widely regarded as one of basketball's greatest players ever, and Barkley obviously knows exactly how high that standard is. That's what makes the comparison so striking. From Barkley's perspective, when it came specifically to constant effort, Westbrook operated at a level he couldn't remember seeing from anybody else. And then, Nikola Jokic brings up a side of Westbrook that critics sometimes overlook completely. Jokic is a three-time MVP and one of the most gifted playmakers of the modern era. He sees passing angles before they even seem open, reads defenses in seconds, and understands timing at an absurd level. So when somebody with that basketball brain describes his connection with Westbrook, it's worth listening closely.
Love the connection because I just need to look at him and I think he knows exactly knows what I'm thinking. So he just waited. I'm kind of a little slower, so he just waits me to get to the spot, and he passed it always on the right time. So he always. I mean, he's a great player. I think people and teams that he was passed misunderstand him and didn't give him the opportunity to be who.
According to Jokic, their connection clicked almost immediately. He says there were moments where he only needed to look at Westbrook and Russ already understood what he wanted to do. The reads were there, the timing was there. The passes could arrive exactly where they needed to go without everything having to be explained. That's not just raw athleticism. That's basketball IQ. That's awareness. That's two experienced players reading the same situation and seeing the next move before it fully develops. Then Jokic says something that hits directly at one of the biggest debates surrounding Westbrook's career. In Jokic's view, people, and some of the teams Westbrook played for, misunderstood him. They didn't always give him the opportunity to simply be who he is. Whether everybody agrees with that assessment or not, look at who it's coming from. A three-time MVP who actually shared the floor with Westbrook is saying the public perception didn't always match the player he experienced up close. That's a major wrinkle in the Westbrook story. Then there's Draymond Green, and this is where the intensity gets turned all the way up. Draymond built his career around competitive energy, physical defense, non-stop communication, and never being afraid of confrontation on a basketball court. He came into the league with that Saginaw, Michigan edge, ready to talk, compete, and challenge anybody standing across from him. Then he started battling those Oklahoma City Thunder teams and ran directly into Russell Westbrook. Draymond describes Westbrook in his heyday as one of the most explosive athletes the NBA has ever seen.
One of the most explosive athletes we've ever seen in the NBA. The power, the force that he played with. And then the banter. You know, you get into it with Russ, the banter back and forth was always special. I remember coming into the league and I came in talking. Like, that's who I am. That's what I do. I grew up in Saginaw, Michigan. That's what you do. And playing against those Thunder teams early on, like, Russ, like, yo, who is this? Like, why is he talking type of energy at all times? And, you know, the battles that we had.
It wasn't only speed, it was power, force, energy, banter, and that constant back and forth that could make every possession feel like its own little battle. Green entered the NBA believing that intensity was part of his advantage. Against Westbrook, he found somebody willing to match that energy and push right back. Those battles against Oklahoma City clearly stuck with him. And that's what makes Draymond's perspective so interesting. When a player whose entire identity is built around intensity starts talking about another man's intensity, like it was something different, you pay attention. But Gilbert Arenas brings yet another perspective to this conversation. Arenas knows what it's like when public perception starts becoming almost as important as what actually happened on the basketball court. He was one of the most unique offensive talents of his generation, but discussions about his career have often stretched far beyond his actual production. So when Arenas talks about what he sees as an unfair assessment of Russell Westbrook's career, he isn't speaking from some distant position. He understands how quickly a narrative can stick.
It's an unfair assessment of Westbrook's career because he was such a different type of player. His engine was out of this world when it came to how he approached the game, right? He approached the game with the Jordan, Kobe-like mindset, but he did not have the offensive skill to match it. But the I want to get better, I want to win every game, I want to do everything, the mentality was there. And the way he played the game itself was how you will want every single player.
And in Westbrook's case, Arenas believes the criticism became so loud that people started overlooking what Russ was actually producing on the floor. Gilbert Arenas gets fired up when the conversation turns to Westbrook, and his point is crystal clear. He says Westbrook's engine was out of this world and that Russ approached basketball with a Jordan-Kobe mentality. Arenas also makes an important distinction. That mentality could be fully there, even if Westbrook's offensive skill set wasn't always on the exact same level as those legends. That desire to win every game, impact everything, and leave everything on the court is rare. Arenas is talking about a mentality only a small group of players throughout NBA history have consistently shown. And then Arenas goes straight at one of the biggest accusations attached to Westbrook's career: stat padding. His argument is simple. Rebounds aren't automatically padding. Rebounds require effort, positioning, timing, and the willingness to go chase the basketball. Westbrook grabbed them because he went after them. You can debate strategy and context, but Arenas sees that relentless pursuit as part of what made Russ different. Then Dwayne Wade enters the conversation. Wade won 3 championships and battled against some of the greatest players of an entire era. He knows what elite competition feels like because he lived through those playoff series, championship runs, and pressure-packed moments himself. And when Wade talks about Russell Westbrook, he doesn't present his opinion like some complicated basketball debate. He talks like the answer is already sitting right there.
Russ is having one of the most underappreciated careers that we will see. And there's guys that come along, one that's sitting in front of you, that careers get underappreciated, it's undervalued and underappreciated for whatever the reasons are.
Yeah.
But in his own right, just one of the GOAT careers because it's just customized and no one has one like it. Like, no one has a career like Russell Westbrook, and no one plays the game like Russell Westbrook. He's a one of one, in a sense, and it's phenomenal to see him in. I don't remember what year, maybe year 17, whatever year he's in right now, where he's still athletic. He still plays the game the same way he did when we first got introduced to Russ, and it's just incredible to watch. He's one of the most athletic human beings.
Wade calls Westbrook's run one of the most underappreciated careers we will ever see, and then describes it as a GOAT career. Not because he's necessarily saying Westbrook is the single greatest player ever, but because his career is genuinely one of one. Nobody else built a resume quite like this. Nobody else played the position quite like this. Westbrook attacked basketball with a style that looked almost impossible to copy. The speed, power, rebounds, assists, emotion, and constant pressure created a player the league simply hadn't seen before. Wade points toward that uniqueness and calls what Westbrook accomplished phenomenal. Coming from a 3-time champion who competed in the same era, that's serious respect. And when you zoom out, Russell Westbrook's legacy becomes much clearer. Across 18 NBA seasons, he established himself as one of the most relentless forces basketball has ever seen. Every rebound became something to attack. Every opening in transition became a chance to explode down the floor. Effort never looked optional with Russ. The numbers behind that run are historic. Westbrook became the NBA's all-time triple-double leader, reaching 209 and completely changing what people thought an all-around point guard could produce. He won the 2017 MVP, earned 9 All-Star selections, made 9 All-NBA teams, captured 2 scoring titles, and averaged a triple-double across 4 different seasons. But the numbers only tell part of the story. Westbrook was never going to be remembered as a perfect basketball player. That wasn't what made him special. He was going to be remembered because he was impossible to forget. The explosive first step, the thunderous dunks, the rebounds he seemed to steal out of nowhere, the emotion after a huge play, the way he could turn an ordinary possession into absolute chaos in seconds. Westbrook helped change expectations for what a point guard could physically do, and he transformed the triple-double from a rare statistical event into something fans watched him chase night after night. That's why, when former teammates, rivals, MVPs, and champions talk about Russell Westbrook, the same themes keep showing up: effort, intensity, competitiveness, speed, and a motor that simply wouldn't quit. The debates about where exactly he belongs on an all-time list will probably never completely disappear. That's basketball, but the career itself left a mark that can't be erased. Russell Westbrook gave the game a style that was unmistakably his own, and whether you loved watching him or criticized his flaws, you knew when Russ stepped onto that court. Something could happen at any second. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with another basketball fan. And drop a comment below. Where does Russell Westbrook rank among the greatest point guards you've ever watched? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.